Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm sharing this A Touch of Ink Slimline card with you. Let me set it aside and let's get to the creating. To start this card, we're going to use a piece of shimmery white cardstock. I don't know if we can catch the shimmer there in the light. And then I've also got my D block, though you can use any, and my Highland Heather ink. And I'm just going to ink up my block here by pressing it into the ink. And I'm going to use that as my palette for my painting because I just want a light wash of the purple. And then I've got the broad brush for my water painter. And so let's just give this kind of a light all over brush with the water, not trying to saturate our cardstock. And then I'm just going to start down here and brush some of this in. And we're just going to give it just this barest hint of purple toning. Just trying to make sure my brush is wet and not picking up too much ink. And I think I want to come in just a hint darker here at the bottom. So I am purposely leaving the borders as they are. And then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. So let me put this out of the way and we'll move on to our next step. So next up we're going to work on our stamping with the Touch of Ink stamp set. Now this set is free during Celebration, and Celebration runs through the end of February, so you'll want to quickly place your order in my Stampin' Up! Store in order to earn that stamp set. And you can find a link to my store in the description below. So I have my Old Olive ink here, and I'm going to stamp off just a little bit because that's just too dark for my purposes. And then I'm going to stamp here and hold just a second. I've got a stitch shaped oval here that I'm stamping on. And then let me grab my Pretty Peacock ink pad. And Pretty Peacock is probably one of my favorites in the retiring in colors. They'll be going out at the end of April. We get the new annual catalog in May. Okay, so we'll set that aside and let's leave my Pretty Peacock open, and I'm going to use the Hummingbird stamp set, and I'm going to start with the fill stamp set in the Pretty Peacock and just ink them a couple of times, and then I'm going to stamp off. And then turn them over, and I'm also going to do the outline in the Pretty Peacock. But I'm going to remove, I double mounted these, I'm going to remove that fill stamp before I attempt to line these up. Not hard at all, as you can see. And even though I was messy with my inking, I'm not messy there. So next, let's grab the next stamp. I'll need my Melon Mambo ink pad, and then I've also double mounted the flowers from the stamp set. So let's stamp off a moment and then add those, and then let's do our outline stamp. And these line up sort of. So there is some of the fill that goes outside the outline. And then let's close that up and bring my pretty peacock back in here. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to come over here and do that. Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors and cut out these images and then do a quick die cut of this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I used one of the Ornate Frames dies to cut out my sentiment. It's got a little bit of stitching in addition to the nice shape. And then of course I used my paper snips for our hummingbird, and I cut the floral piece in half. So now we're ready to assemble our card. And I've got an 8.5 by 8 piece of Pretty Peacock. We're making a slimline card here. And I've got a piece of basic white cardstock for the inside. And it measures 3 3/4 by 8 1/4. Okay. And then we've got that piece of shimmery white that we painted at the beginning with our water painter and the Highland Heather. And let me just put dimensionals all over the back of this. Now this piece is also 3 3/4 by 8 1/4. And because when you watercolor, getting the cardstock a little damp, you do get some warping. And so I'm putting on, I normally put on a lot, and I have put on a few extra to so that this will lay flat as my layer. Let's just pull all the backing pieces off. Whoops. And we'll line this up with my grid paper and make sure that my top and 2 sides are even, and then this other end will be just fine. Whoops. Now I have a piece of the Golden Garden Acetate designer. It's a specialty paper in the January to June mini catalog, and I've cut this to 3 1/4 by 7 3/4, and I just need to find, there's a little bit of a plastic coating on here. I should have started it when I cut it so that I could show you more quickly, but you'll have the advantage of being able to bring that right up to your face. In fact, I think I'm going to stop the camera and bring this up to my face, and I'll be right back. Do what I did and press that back on after cutting. It had started to come loose after I cut it, and I thought, oh, I'll just press that back on until I'm ready. That was a mistake, as you just saw. And I'm going to, about the halfway mark here, put on some little dots of glue. Most of this is not going to be adhered. And I'm just trying to think where my piece is going to hit. And I'm just trying to stay on the design mostly. Okay. And if I didn't say already, this is the problem with me giving dimensions as I create. This is 3 1/8 by 3 1/4 by 7 3/4. Okay. Now next, we're going to put down some ribbon, and I've got my tear and tape, and we're just going to run this right across this just below center, and take my bone folder and give this a rub, and then I'm going to take my take your pick and let it do the work for me, pulling that backing piece off. And then I'm going to take this pretty purple posy ribbon from the Playing with Patterns ribbon combo pack and put that down right here. And then let's grab my scissors as I throw tools across here. Give that a quick trim and put that out of the way. And now we're ready for the next layer. We're going to use this Stitch Shapes oval that we stamped the leaves on. And then let's put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this piece of of the flower. And I want it to be up here off the top, so I think I need another dimensional under there so that it stays up. There we go. And then this guy is going to get just a little bit of adhesive on this stem and tuck in behind here. Just giving that a press so it has a chance to adhere to the acetate. And let's grab our hummingbird. Trying to decide how many dimensionals I want on my hummingbird. Okay, and so I have double stacked the wing, single on the head, and single on the tail. Okay, and then we need our sentiment here. We're going to add dimensionals to that. And then I've got some of this scalloped linen trim in the Pretty Peacock, and I've already cut off a piece and trimmed off one of the scallops. And let me cut that in half, and I've got my scallops facing out on each of those. I think that's just a tad long, and we're going to add a couple of mini glue dots behind these. Make sure that I've caught both pieces of that. And then let's flip our sentiment over and use it to help us place that little bit of ribbon. But I want to straighten this up. Ugh, I'm off at an angle. Okay. And there we go, our Slimline card for this week's The Spot Creative Challenge using the A Touch of Ink stamp set from Celebration. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with your card making friends. If you're in the US, please make some of your Stampin' Up purchases in my store. You can use the link in the description below. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell if you'd like to be notified the next time I upload a video. Have a good day. Bye.